Emmanuel Macron could face off against presidential candidates backing a referendum for France to leave the European Union, according to a leading Frexit campaigner. The president of the Generation Frexit campaign, Charles-Henri Gallois, said support for France's departure from Brussels was growing following the EU's terrible management of its vaccine rollout. Speaking to Mike Graham on Talk Radio, Mr. Gallois said that European Commission's handling of the coronavirus crisis is the best advert for Frexit. He also said that Frexit campaigners were trying to get presidential rivals to Emmanuel Macron to sign up to a Frexit referendum pledge in their manifesto. Mr. Gallois said, "We are advocating for a French referendum on EU membership. We are pushing and proposing it to the candidates in the presidential election, just like David Cameron, who was not for Brexit but included it in his manifesto for electoral purposes. The hope is that there will be support for presidential candidates backing Frexit in their manifesto." He said that growing outrage in France at the EU's control of vaccine rollout, which he called a total disaster. Mr. Gallois continued, "The UK is very lucky to be outside of the EU and to have a very good vaccine rollout. Morocco, which started its vaccine rollout 3 weeks ago, is now vaccinating more people per percentage of the population than the EU. It is a huge argument to leave the EU. It is the best advert for Frexit. This crisis has been managed terribly for the EU. It is one more argument in favor of Frexit. It is a bad moment for the EU," Mr. Graham said. Macron is looking a little bit shaky at the moment, with the elections just a year away. Mr. Gallois responded, "Macron doesn't have a big electoral base. In 2017, he had only 18% of the electoral support, but he was able to win because he faced Marine Le Pen, and against Le Pen, anyone could win in the second round. He doesn't have huge support." The talk radio host followed up, "Without France and Britain, the EU falls apart, doesn't it?" The Frexit campaigner explained, "The Eurozone would definitely fall apart without France, the second biggest economy in the single currency. The EU could survive a few more years, but without France, one of the founders of the EU, and without the UK, its two main economies after Germany, the EU project would be dead." This comes as Spanish Eurosceptics have officially launched a campaign for Spain to have a referendum on its membership to the EU. The Spexit referendum campaign was launched by left-wing Eurosceptic party Somos España but aims at a cross-party solution to Spain's subjugation to the Brussels bloc. Its leader Luis Carlos Nogues has also teamed up with Mr. Gallois, Italexit leader Gianluigi Paragon and former Brexit party MEP Alexandra Phillips for a continental campaign to leave the EU. The cross-border Eurosceptics launched their Eurexit movement campaign last month.